Okay, it is late afternoon and we are losing daylight, so I'm going to try and make this quick. Hello everybody, welcome back. I'm doing another VR. I saw this video from Lisa Papez. I saw that she did it first, and it's a VR to Kyra Getchell, and it's Living in Tarot. So it's what kind of deck environment or world you'd want to live in. So we'll start with this one. This is the indie edition of the Anna K Tarot. And I would most definitely want to live in it. It screams fall to me. It's summer and fall because the sunny cards are definitely very summery, but also the sun in them just feels like it's fall light. It's not the full strength of the sun. And it's just kind of gloomy a little bit, but it's joyful. And it's just definitely a deck and world that I would love to be a part of. So that is my first one. Another deck that I would love to live in is the Cook's Tarot. Now, this deck is interesting. I haven't seen it very much talked about or anything in the tarot world, but I love the artwork of it. I love the coloring. This one is definitely a summer deck for me, and it's a very comforting deck for me too, and it's surrounded and centered around food, so it's like the perfect deck for me. And the world just feels so warm and just exactly like where I would want to be. It reminds me of like kind of a small coastal town with a few tourists, but it's that small town, everybody knows everybody feel. And I love that about this deck. So that was the Cook's Tarot. The third one is the Witch's Wisdom Tarot. And if you've seen my disheveled decks, you have seen this one show up briefly. I absolutely adore this deck and love the world that's encapsulated in this deck. It's that return to nature and the connection between humans and nature and how we learn to integrate ourselves back into it. And I just love the artwork. I think it's watercolor, but it's just, oh my gosh, it's beautiful. This is definitely another deck that I could see myself pathworking in. And this one, I did a meditation and I kind of saw this. I was transported to this card. It was very interesting. I love this star card. I love every card in this deck though, so it's hard to pick a favorite. So that was my third one, the Witch's Wisdom. I've got a couple more tarots and one oracle. Actually, I'll save this one. The next one is the Tyldwick Tarot. And this is the second edition. I did not get lucky enough to get the first, but I'm kind of glad that I have the second edition because it doesn't feel as fragile to me than the first edition kind of does. But this world and every card in here, you can just, at least I can, just put myself immediately in, and you just get transported into this huge mansion and you're just exploring the whole house. It definitely is haunted, and I'm sure the ghosts kind of follow you around whispering their tale and telling you their stories. I love this one. I can definitely pathwork in this. I think that that's one of the criteria for me, at least, for if it's a deck that I could picture myself living in or want to live in. And this one definitely fits that bill. So that is the Tyldwick Tarot. The next deck I have is a pip deck. This is the Dragon Tarot. And this reminds me so very much of Robin Hobb's Realm of the Elderlings. This is a card that I picture Malta looking like if you've read the Live Ship Traders trilogy or the Rainwild Chronicles. This, even the pips, it's just the world that's behind here. The mountains in the swords, the cave, the oceany water. I can just see myself exploring and having a little cabin and living alongside these elderlings. I'm not sure I'd want to live near the volcanoes, but having dragons in real life and the ones that look kind of like these, I would not be complaining. That's for sure. So this is the Dragon's Tarot. The next deck is Tarot Noir, and I'm not 100% sure if I would want to live in this world. This is a Marseille deck, but the majors and the court cards are just so interesting that I can't help but be intrigued and want to step into their world. I probably wouldn't stay here. I think I would rent in this world. I would not like to take down some roots and take up permanent residence here. But having a visit or vacation would be kind of interesting to me. This reminds me very much of like Tim Burton kind of illustration. And the cards are huge. I don't know if you can tell, so it's difficult to shuffle, but I love, love, love this deck. That's Tarot Noir. I have one Oracle deck, and it's the You Are Here Oracle. And I absolutely love this deck. I think the artwork it's a collage deck. It's one of my only collage decks, actually. And I love it. I think that it's so deep, and just looking at the artwork alone is incredible. And then it has the keywords and a couple things with it. It's got the titles and keywords. But I love this deck. I'm not the biggest fan of outer space. I think space shows kind of scare me and stress me out. Just the thought of like not having air. But it seems like all of these people are fine. because they're in like a dreamscape, dream world. So it's not something I have to worry about in this world. So this is the You Are Here Oracle. And I've got one final one. And I think you all know exactly which deck I'm getting. Because how could I make a video and not showcase this deck? It's the Herbcrafter's Tarot. This deck has such a special place in my heart, and from the moment I looked at the cards, I knew this world, and I felt very at home. I think that this is a landscape that I can picture myself living in, and would like to find land and areas that look like this to really settle down. This reminds me of having a little cottage of your own, a comfortable, cozy place where there's a lot of open land and neighbors are far in distance, but close to your heart. When I opened up this deck, I actually laid out some of the cards and created a little cottage with the images. Like this was, I think, a little side garden. This was the kitchen island. I cannot say enough about this deck. I just absolutely adore it. And all of the cards that go with it. So that was my final deck, the Herbcrafter's Tarot. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed. And I would love to see more people doing this tag because I think that it's so interesting.